I'm Josh.
And I'm Lars, and we are Blank Wines.
This month, we decided to step into our own story and share a wine with you that represents a lot about what we want Blank Wines to be. We may have gone to school to study wine, but the fact is, at 24, we're technically still new to wine. And so we wanted to give you a chance to join us as we experience one of the Blank Wines in this month's collection.
For us at least, wine is more than just a beverage. It's a living, breathing experience in a bottle that has so much to offer people when it's opened and shared.
We decided it would be fun to share a different kind of white wine in this Blank Wines collection. And it's only different because it's less common, but not less interesting.
It's a white blend, which, if you're new to wine, might not even trigger anything in your mind at first. But if you take a minute to think about the white wines people talk about the most, like Chardonnay or Sauv Blanc, it might occur to you that most white wines people drink in the US are made from one grape variety, and single varieties may be the only kinds of white wines you've ever seen other people around you drink.
Our Blank Wines North Coast White Blend has 4 grapes in it: Sauvignon Blanc, Gewürztraminer, Viognier, and Pinot Gris, which are 4 white varietals that each have their own distinct characteristics. But when blended with each other, each offer up a whole different kind of experience.
Man, Gewürztraminer. Remember the first time you saw that on a wine label?
That was not an easy one to figure out right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But good old Lou from Major Crush, he told me a way that he remembered it when he was doing his schooling with wine, and he said that someone told him to say it as Gewürztraminer, the girls are meaner, and kind of pronounce it that way.
Sure.
And ever since that, it's just kind of clicked.
That'll do it.
Whenever I'm about to taste a wine, the first thing I pick up on are the aromas. As you get to know me, you'll likely discover that I love smells in wine that might not sound too tasty when I'm describing them. Things like dead leaves or barnyard funk have been known to come out of my smelling experiences, but those are all incredibly telling fragrances that give me insight into the wine and actually taste better to me than they might sound.
In this wine, I instantly pick up tropical fruit aromas, like pineapple and guava. But the best advice I can give you when smelling a wine is to remember, if you're old enough to drink, then you definitely have an entire lifetime of smells cataloged in your memory. There's no mystery or trick to smelling wine other than to drop in and see if anything familiar shows up in your glass.
Yeah, and the other thing that might be helpful is to know that whatever smells come up for you are always right. If you smell something that someone else doesn't smell, it's all good, because wine is made to be uniquely experienced.
All right, so we've been smelling this and talking about it for too long. I think it's time to dive in and have a drink.
Yeah.
That first sip is something I think tastes the best when I slow down and let the wine wash over every part of my mouth. When I'm sipping on any other beverage, I never seem to pick up on as many hits on my palate as I do with wine. And I think that's what made me want to pursue wine in the first place.
That's true for me too. And when you think about it, there must be something more to it, because there really is no other beverage people go to school to learn how to make, sell, or talk about other than wine. But your mouth informs your brain with so many details that even one sip of wine can be an experience if you let yourself really think about what you're tasting.
Tropical fruits all day.
Yeah, exactly. Huge tropical fruits on the nose and on the palate, like pineapple, guava. I get some green apple on there too.
100%.
Yeah, it's got that nice green apple aroma, a little bit of that bright acidity.
Yeah. If you're getting green apple, that's got to be the Sauv Blanc, maybe the Gewürz. Yeah. And the Viognier in this, I think it's giving it, nice texture. Not everything needs to contribute flavor. It gives it some good oily texture.
Yeah, that nice, more full mouthfeel. So It's not just, it's still refreshing, but it has that little bit of feel in there. So
yeah.
Real nice.
Even after studying wine business and learning from pros how to taste wine, the way the wine industry sets up their labels on wine bottles has always been a serious problem for me.
We're not really talking about all of the colorful tasting notes winemakers often put on a label, because sometimes those can actually be useful. But we are talking about the nonsense stuff that doesn't really give you a clue about what the wine in the bottle will taste like, which means if you're new to picking out a bottle, the risk of getting it wrong might not seem worth it.
So we came up with a better way to help customers understand what they're buying by identifying the characteristics in a wine that make it exceptionally good. We put a tasting scale on the back of all of our Blank Wines bottles that hits the key elements that show up in a wine: body, acidity, sweetness, and tannins in a red wine. And then we assigned a way for us to measure those elements for you. We love wine, and we want to invite other people who are new to wine to experience it the way we like to. So that's the beauty of the tasting grid. Every wine we put under the Blank Wines label is what we believe is a balanced expression of that type of wine.
Which means when you taste one of our wines and then use the tasting scale to dial in your understanding, you can apply the things you learned from your Blank Wines experience to future experiences with other wines down the road. The way food can change a wine is almost like a magic trick. When it comes to an epic finale during a wine tasting, adding some cheese to the experience is always a good ending in my book.
All of the white wines in this white blend are exceptionally good with all sorts of cheeses. And beyond that, the classic flavors found in a well-made Gewürztraminer or Pinot Gris pair surprisingly well with Thai food, Indian, and even Chinese food. But for Lars and me, goat cheese is an absolute must-have with a wine like this.
You know, the secret I live by when it comes to wine and cheese is if you have a sip of your wine and then you have a bite of your cheese, you want it leaving you with another sip of your wine. You can't have the cheese overpower it.
I like that.
Hands down, the best thing to pair with the Blank Wines white blend is friends.
Every time Lars and I open up a bottle and talk to each other about our experience, I learn something new about wine, and maybe even something new about myself. Wine continually surprises me because it's never the same experience twice.
How you drink it, when you drink it, who you drink it with, these are all factors that even our tasting grid can't predict for you. But we do know that wine is welcoming, and that's why we always end our tasting notes with a simple phrase: welcome to wine.